Here's a complete guide to competitive breeding in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Before we start talking about anything specific, here are a few things that you will need. You're going to need an Everstone, a Destiny Knot, and a Mirror Herb. An Everstone can be bought at the Deli Bird Presence and is used to pass down natures. Destiny Knot can also be bought at Deli Bird Presence and can use to be passed down IVs. And the Mirror Herb can be bought by the Deli Bird Presence in Karascafra and can be used to pass down egg moves from other Pokemon. You're also going to need some egg hatching Pokemon to speed up the process and egg power sandwiches or food to get faster egg drops. The Pokemon you can use to hatch eggs faster are the Talonflame line, Bacargo line, Colossal line, or Camerupt. As for egg power, the Gold Restaurant in Alfornada City has an egg power meal and a good square to run around to hatch your eggs. What is an egg group? An egg group is a group of Pokemon that any Pokemon within can breed with, irrelevant if the Pokemon are the same species. The way the Pokemon that is hatched from the egg is decided is whichever Pokemon is female in the pairing. For example, Gothitelle is in the human egg group, and Grimmsnarl is in the fairy egg group, but its secondary grouping is human. So if they breed together and the Grimmsnarl is the female, the egg will be an Impidimp. But if the Gothitelle is female, the egg will be a Gothita. Dittos can breed with any Pokemon that isn't a legendary, and the egg will always be the other Pokemon from the Ditto, no matter what. This makes Ditto the ideal Pokemon for breeding. Now we're going to talk about everything that needs to be passed down to breed a competitive Pokemon. The first thing that you need to think about is egg moves. Some Pokemon can't learn moves from Level Up or TM, like Parting Shot for Grimmsnarl. It's possible for the Pokemon to still learn this move, even though it can't get it in the two traditional ways. Before Scarlet and Violet, you had to do something called chain breeding. That's where you have to make a chain of Pokemon with the same egg moves to get it to the Pokemon you want. An example is if you wanted a Rock Slide Credilli. First, you would need to have a male Relicanth with Rock Slide and a female Corsola. Then breed the male Corsola that has Rock Slide as an egg move with a female Credilli or Lily. Then your hatched Credilli will have Rock Slide. This is because Relicanth and Credilli don't share an egg group, but Corsola shares an egg group with both of them. Scarlet and Violet, however, made this a lot simpler, although you can still chain if you want to. If you want your Grimmsnarl to learn an egg move, all you need to do is give it a Mirror Herb. Then have a Pokemon with Parting Shot at the picnic. It doesn't even have to be the opposite sex or the same egg group, as long as it has an open move slot. For example, you go to a picnic with a male Gothitelle, Mirror Herb Grimmsnarl with an open move slot, and a Bombardier who knows Parting Shot, who is currently the only Pokemon in the game that can learn this move naturally. Wait for an egg, and it should be an Impidimp with Parting Shot. TN moves can also be passed down this way, as long as the Pokemon has open move slots. So you can save yourself some cash if you want. Next up is IVs, but first off, what is an IV? IV, or individual value, is a random number assigned between 0 and 31 that is given to each stat of a Pokemon when encountered in the wild. Each point at level 100 gives your Pokemon one extra point in that stat. So a level 100 Grimmsnarl with 0 speed IVs would have a speed stat of 125, but with 31 it would have 156. Pokemon in 5-star raids will always have 4 perfect IVs, 6-star raids, 5 IVs, and 7-star raids will always have a perfect set of IVs. To be able to check your IVs, you must have beaten the game and have seen the credits. Then you need to go to any Pokemon Center and talk to the Nurse Joy, where she will tell you now have access to the judge function. Go to the summary screen for your Pokemon and hit the plus button, and it should put words next to every single one of the stats for your Pokemon. Each one of those words is an indicator for how many IVs your Pokemon has. No good, decent, pretty good, very good, fantastic, and best. You are looking for best. IVs are passed down randomly, but there are some things that you can do to make your odds better of it being passed down. Without the Destiny Knot, 3 total IVs are randomly picked from the mother and the father and passed down. This doesn't mean the egg will have a perfect balance between the mom and the dad. 2 of the stats that can be passed down can be the same. So each the mom and dad can randomly pass down the attack stat as one of their 3. And it will randomly select between the mom's and the dad's attack. Let's continue with our Gothitelle Grimmsnarl example. Say you're trying to breed a competitive Grimmsnarl. You go out and capture an Impidimp with no IVs and breed it with a 5 IV male Gothitelle or a Ditto from a raid. Without the Destiny Knot, 3 random IVs, let's say Defense, HP, and Speed from the Impidimp, and Defense, HP, and Special Attack from either the Gothitelle or Ditto get passed down. You might end up with an Impidimp with only 1 perfect IV depending on which of the defense and HP get passed down, if they both happen to be from the Impidimp. With the Destiny Knot, however, 5 IVs from the Pokemon carrying it get passed down. So you give it to the Pokemon with 5 IVs and breed a batch of eggs. If you're lucky, all 5 will get passed down, but they still have the 50-50 with the random 3 picked from the other Pokemon. The best way to get your max IV fast is to do your eggs in cycles. After 5 eggs, check the results, and if your original Impidimp has 0 perfect IVs and one of the first batch has 1, replace that old Impidimp with another one. Increases the chances of the 50-50 being between 2 perfect IVs, guaranteeing that it gets passed down. Repeat this process until you have the IVs desired. Not every IV needs to be perfect, however. Attack and special attack IVs can often be random values depending on your Pokemon. Hatterene, for example, is never going to use a physical attack, so you don't want to waste your time breeding IVs in a stat it won't use. Some Pokemon also require 0 IVs in some stats. Trick Room Pokemon like Hatterene and Torkoal often run 0 IVs in speed to try and go first under Trick Room. 0 IVs can be harder to get than a max IV. You need to find a Pokemon that has 0 IVs. So if you see a Ditto Tera raid, the value of a 0 IV Ditto is more valuable than a 5 or 6 IV Ditto in my opinion, so do every single Ditto raid. Then breed with a Destiny Knot like before and hope that the 0 IV passes down. If you're having trouble passing down IVs or just want one specific IV to pass down, giving the Pokemon a power item instead of a Destiny Knot works just as well. So instead of having 3 or 5 random IVs being passed down, that one specific IV will be passed down, and as long as it wins the 50-50, the egg will have it. However, most of the time it is more effective just to use the Destiny Knot. Next thing up is Natures. Compared to IVs, Natures are easy. Natures are randomly given to any Pokemon hatched, but it can be controlled with an Everstone. Give an Everstone to the Pokemon whose nature you want to be passed down, and it will be guaranteed to have it when hatched. So when you're doing your breeding cycles, we talked about in the IV section, if you see the hatched egg with the nature you want, put an Everstone on that Pokemon, and the rest of the eggs that you breed will have that nature. And the other Pokemon with the good IVs will be passing down what you want. Abilities and Tera typing. Once you start getting 5 IVs or 4 IVs and 0 speed IV Pokemon that you want, you're going to want to keep breeding until you get the ability and Tera type you want. If the Pokemon that you are trying to breed has 2 abilities, it's a 50-50 chance either ability gets passed down. Same goes for the Tera type if it has 2 typings. However, if you are planning on changing the Tera type, it doesn't matter what the role is, and it's just one less thing for you to worry about. If your Pokemon has its hidden ability, it's guaranteed to be passed down. If your Pokemon doesn't have its hidden ability, you can change it by using an ability patch or finding a version of that Pokemon at a Tera raid. Keep repeating this process until you get the Pokemon with the abilities, natures, Tera types, and egg moves you want. Depending on your luck and how good you are at cycling for your new breeding partners, this can go pretty quickly. However, be prepared to commit some time for this and don't get frustrated. It will take a few goes and sometimes it'll take longer than others, but your Pokemon will come. I have a second method for you guys, but for me to tell it, you guys are gonna have to like the video and subscribe and hit the bell notifications. All right, now that you've done all that, here we go with the second method of getting competitive Pokemon. Capitalism. Let's say you don't have the time or you're lazy and you don't want to breed Pokemon. Here's how you can get competitive Pokemon. For the price of 720,000 Pokédollars, you can have a perfect IV, EV, and natured Pokemon in about 5 minutes. Walk to the Delibird Presence, buy yourself 5 bottle caps, walk to Chansey Supplies, and buy 50 vitamins of whatever you might need, a mint that matches whatever nature, and an ability capsule if needed. If you need a hidden ability, you're still going to have to grind the Tera raids for the correct one. We can't help you with this one. Give your Pokemon all the vitamins and jack that boy up. Using the feathers from the auction house or Casaroya Lake to get the exact EVs you need, because unless you're doing 252, 252, and 4, you're going to need some feathers. Then open up that capsule and pour it in that boy's mouth and change his ability. Ram the mint in there after and change his nature. Then level up that bad boy to level 50 and take him to Montenerva and have the strange man with the Abomasnow shove a bunch of bottle caps inside of him to give him the perfect 5 IVs that you need. Use the TMs that you have to get the moveset, and bam, in 5 minutes, you have a competitive Pokemon. That is my complete guide on how to breed and raise competitive Pokemon for Scarlet and Violet. If this was helpful to you guys, hit that like button down below and subscribe. It'd be very much appreciated. This video was a lot of fun to work on. If you guys want more guides like this, tell me what you want down below in the comments as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.